What is good, Sham fam? Today we have another entry for the COD Academy Series where I check out the gameplay you guys submit and give you my advice on how I think you could improve your game. Today we're going to be watching the homie Elly's footage from Hardpoint, so let's not waste any time and hop right into the footage and see how he can improve his overall game. So because this is a pubs Hardpoint game, we are going to be focusing more on his individual skill that he could improve versus how the team's doing and the score of the actual game, because you get kind of a toss-up with your teammates in pubs and he's not playing with a party to my knowledge. So we're going to keep it specified with just his individual skills versus team play and things of that nature. From my understanding, Elly's more of a SMG player, or sub player. So he'll be playing OBJ probably a lot more, trying to get mixy with it. So he gets a kill there, an assist on the other, holds the point, gets some good time. Hasn't been naded off yet. Good little spot. Good shots, just gets taken down by a sniper, I think. Yeah, SBR or something like that. So he's rotated around to the next point, so he should have spawns, which is a really good thing to keep in mind. Aim gets away from him on that heady right there. I think he hears the information. It's kind of sporadic on that fight. He had good positioning there to control spawns and control the next point, but it looked like they were trying to do the same. So kind of something you could fight with your team, but so he gets the guy off dome and he sees flashlights and all kinds of shots. So it's going to be hard for an OBJ player in pubs, especially when your team's not helping you, but he gets the spawn for the next point. So that's crucial. They're not down by a lot either. So I talked about this kind of in my previous COD Academy video, but pop in dead silence to sit still, to not really do anything with it. I don't know if he meant to do that or if he had planned on moving, but I mean, that's one thing right there. Don't waste your utility that you've saved up to, not make an impact with it, because now you've died, you sat stagnant. You still got good time, which is fine, just I wouldn't have used dead silence yet. So they're getting a little bit of spawn trapped here. And just the pet peeve of mine, which is a hard habit to break, but and I'm sure I do it on stream too, but try not to focus too much on your KD when you're trying to regain. It'll drive you nuts. You get some more time, but if you notice by the time he's gotten back on hill and he's clearing it, it's at 13 seconds. He really should have been rotating already if you're playing competitively, trying to get ahead and keep that lead, keep spawns, keep control of the map. So late rotation, and now their spawns are kind of jacked. It's kind of tough either way. I mean, I don't know what the spawn protection was like on the right side where he's headed now, around that 15-second mark. See if he can rally back. They're actually in the lead right now, so. I mean, it happens. That was just unfortunate all around. All right, so I've got control of the hill. Normally you would see a trophy get thrown down or something like that, but pubs, it's just Wild West. So he's being smart, not stacking up on the point when he doesn't need to. He pops steady. Let's see if he does something with it this time versus, kind of sitting kind of stagnant. I mean, his aim doesn't look bad at all. I mean, I've played against him in some custom matches here and there and played with him, on some games. So I know his aim is pretty solid. If I remember correctly, he's a console player too, I think PlayStation. One thing in pubs, I mean, and it goes for ranked too, or comp play, you got to think about the routes you're taking to the objective a lot more strategically. In pubs, it's easy to get into this mindset of just throwing your body at the hill over and over and over and over, and it just leads to death after death. So just be mindful of that. What route is the best way to get me there? Even if it takes a little bit longer, will it pay off in the long run? So he's late on the rotation, but he does end up getting a good positioning, thankfully, because the enemy team's not prepared and not there in time. So his team was already on point for a second. He gets back on it. So he gets kind of bailed out there. But there's a guy in the UAV to his right, and I don't think he realizes it. Calls in a streak. Guy doesn't see him, but he turns around and gets him. In that case, man, you really just want to be more aware of your surroundings, your UAV, all the information that's going, which takes practice to know, to be able to look at left, right, center, what's going on in front of you. But, you know, if you're more aware of that UAV, you might be able to fight him off and not call on your streak right away to protect yourself and get more time. This time he's using his dead silence. He's trying to make a move, so we'll see. Keep in mind, dead silence, you know, it restarts every time you get a kill. So you want to try and use it at that mid-range, not when you have to sprint a long way, unless you're trying to, I guess, use it solely for the rotation. It was a good little 2 kills. Gets caught off guard by the third one. Almost good snap to him. Alright, so let's see if they can fight back at this hill. That's a great kill right there. Especially with the SMG. Pick him off like that. Good little drop shot. So if you watch his drop shot right here after he gets this kill, his drop shots look clean. You can see he's doing the version of the drop shot that I talked about in my movement video. It's more like the auto drop shot. They said it was patched, but I've seen some people still get very close to doing it. That looks, you know, almost like it did before the patch. He saw him out of the corner of his eye. Ah, that hip fire got away from him again. But his drop shots look clean. Very clean. Gets him a little kill, hip fire. I'd like to see that hip fire speed toned down, potentially, his sensitivity. So he's getting good time. He's got 1:45 on hill, even though he's been kind of late on rotations. That's, I mean, he's still getting on there. He's the objective player, and he's got the most kills for his team. So he's trying to do his job. Yeah, his sensitivity looks pretty fast, but I wonder if that's because he's on console as well. A lot of console players tend to go for higher sense. So his team's still winning. He wins his battle, gets the comeback momentum. Nice little drop shot. Or Lockman sub. So he's gonna clear the hill, gets him a little double. Gets on hill for time. He's playing his job, man. Tries to get the drop shot, but crosshair placement was a little low on that. So that's one thing to keep in mind here too. You know, when you're playing any role, especially a submachine gun or an objective player, you've really got to be mindful of getting your crosshair placement on center mass, because your gun's already going to be weaker and lose fights at range. So when you're in close range, mid range, you want to be hitting as many shots in the upper chest to head as possible to get them down fast and use that fire rate to your advantage of your submachine gun. Like in that case, the guy jump peaks the objective, and because his crosshair placement was too low and it was more towards the crotch and the legs, and the guy's jumped over his aim already. So it's one of those things you got to be conscious of. And I feel like a lot of controller players struggle with this versus mouse and keyboard as much. Not to say mouse and keyboard doesn't, but when you're using an analog stick, you still have to be conscious of putting your aim center mass or head height so that you're ready. If they, you know, around that corner jumping, you can adjust quickly, or you can adjust down for their drop shot quickly. So he pops his dead silence. He's on the move, gets him a kill, so it's going to reset. Gets him another kill, reset again. See, this is where it's strong, when you use it in that mid-range, when you know you're going to be in an altercation. He's flanking. He's still got about half a bar on his dead silence. Gets him another kill, reset. Here's the shot. I don't know if he knew where it was from. That's just unfortunate, dealing with a marksman rifle. So his team is up 216-1. Looks like he's trying to prepare for the next hill, just to, you know, go ahead and wrap this game up. He's got spawns if he stays back here far enough, and his team starts spawning back there. Looks like they're stacked up on this hill. Let's see if that one of them moves off. They could wrap it up with this hill. Good drop shot. He's able to transition to it really fast. But you can see these little overcorrections or micro adjustments to try and get his aim where it needs to be. And just before we do this recap, I do want to back it up, which I know this is pubs. I'm not trying to be nitpicky. So if you're trying to play more competitively, right there, him using the stems, and I know he's used them a couple times, you're trying to play more competitively and learn how to get those higher kill games, I do recommend changing your stems out for a flashbang, especially in this game, or even stuns if you're trying to go with, you know, what the GAs are and all that. It's just simply because you get used to using the competitive loadouts. and getting as good as possible with those, whether it be in pubs, CDL, mosh pit, ranked, what have you. But the thing is, you know, if you're running a trophy system, you can throw that down. You don't even have to use your stims because the grenades are getting blocked by the trophy system. You use your stuns and your flashbangs more effectively, and you learn how to get kills and capitalize off that versus a stim that's more passive in this game. Stims also in multiplayer that has such a fast time to kill is not going to be a huge benefit in a lot of tactical situations. And by the time you get the stim off, they've usually already pushed you or tried to finish you off. So just keep in mind, I mean, if you enjoy the stims, by all means, but in more competitive play, you're not going to see it in general because it's either G8 or just not useful. So I'm going to keep the video running in the background, and we're just going to do a quick recap of some of the things that I think Elly should be focused on. So for starters, I don't think I saw him jump peek hardly at all, if any. So I would like to see him add that to his game. He's got the drop shot down. I mean, he's really quick with it, and when he's effective with it, I mean, it's crispy. It looks like he's able to do the auto drop shot if it even still exists. You know, I mean, it's debatable, I guess, at this point. But either way, his drop shot looks really clean, really effective when he uses it. But don't be afraid to jump shot. Be more aware of your path to the objective. So we talked about it slightly earlier, but you need to be aware, okay, when I need to get to point A from point B, what is the best way I can get there? Do I want to choose the fastest way, the way that takes the longest, but it'll get me spawns and get me a good flank? Or do I want to take a kind of intermediate and see, okay, where's more heat at and where's my team at so that I can get there quicker as the objective player? Just depends on your role, depends on the game, depends on how well the team is watching flanks. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Be more conscious of, instead of just throwing your body at the objective, where do I need to go? How do I need to get there? What's the best way that's going to help my kills, help my objective time, help my team get spawns? One of the other things I kind of noticed in this video that I also would like to point out, and it may be, you know, once again, because this is more pubs and you're just kind of relaxed playing versus a competitive setting, is be careful of getting in the habit of just sprinting around corners with your auto tac sprint or your auto sprint and just trying to snap to people and then ADS, because that's very similar to how Warzone and Modern Warfare 19, Vanguard, and Cold War all were. You were able to get away with being very aggressive, sprinting around corners and just snapping to people. That's not really the case as much anymore. You can still do it if the other team just is not as good as you. But when you start facing players that are equal skill level as you or equal gun skill, you're really going to want to almost get your gun ready and pre-aim that angle or that corner before you come around it. You don't want to just be hip firing when you come around the corner or trying to ADS at the start of the gunfight. You want to preemptively know, okay, when I come around this corner, this guy's going to be around this angle, so I'm going to keep my crosshair around there. And as I'm pulling up to the angle, I'm going to ADS about half a second before I peek, because it looks like you have decent gun skill, but you're used to running around a corner, snapping to somebody as you see them and ADSing. So just be more conscious of, hey, I might want to pre-aim this angle right as I peek it versus, you know, sliding and just seeing how I can react. That kind of also plays intact to the jump peeking. If you don't know where somebody's at or you have an idea and you don't want to be pre-aiming, then jump peek it instead. But, you know, you need to figure out when to use both of those depending upon the team you're playing and the game type you're playing. The last note I want to say is, based off a lot of these gunfights, like I said, your gun skill is there. It's clear that you're a good player and that you understand how to get kills, how to get objective time. All those basics are there. But I would take a look at your sensitivity. Now, you have to be careful when you look at sensitivity of a player's controller, analog sticks, mouse, keyboard, whatever, because you don't want to change it too drastically. Sensitivity is something that people tend to change way too drastic, and then they feel completely off and not comfortable anymore, and they think, oh, I just need to get used to it. It's half true, yes, but you need to change it in small increments. So if your sensitivity right now, I mainly noticed your hip fire, but some of your ADS gunfights, you are overcorrecting because your aim, you know, if the target's in front of you and they're moving, you may be slightly moving off of them throughout the battle and not hitting your shots, and it's causing you to lose that battle just barely. So what I would suggest is, whether it be against bots, you go into custom lobbies, or even in pubs if you want to try it out, knock your sensitivity down just by one. Say if you're at a 7.7, knock it down to a 6.6. See if it's still too fast. If you're making too many overcorrections when you're hip firing, knock it down again. And then once you find your good hip fire sensitivity, then we may need to look at your ADS sensitivity multiplier, which I did speak about in my last video, how to aim like the pros in Warzone. So that also goes for multiplayer. Those are the things I would suggest you start to try and improve. And I think you'll really see a benefit from slowing down your ADS just a little, because a lot of players tend to think faster means better when that's not necessarily the case. Try to slow it down, see if you start winning more of your battles. But overall, I mean, solid player, solid player. And this is pubs, so it's really hard to judge you on anything because your team really didn't help you at all. You still had the most time, most kills, and the dub. So can't complain at the end of the day. Ellie, I appreciate you reaching out to me. I hope this was helpful. Now, guys, if you like the coaching videos, you want to improve, you want to see tips and tricks for Modern Warfare and Warzone, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And please leave me a comment below if you have any questions about the coaching, or if you just want to discuss different philosophies about what these players should do and how they should progress and get better. If you want to be a part of this coaching series and you have footage that you want me to review, please get in touch with me by commenting down below, DMing me on any of my social media platforms that I'll leave in the description. Last but not least, head over to shamrockgaming.net, get you some merchandise. We've got hoodies, hats, you know, the works, everything to represent Shamrock Gaming. But that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.